everyone, welcome to the daily slash weekly race guide. It's week 49, nearly the end of the year now, and we have quite a carnagey week this week if I've got to be honest. But race A is quite a rarity because it's Miyabi, but Miyabi always means road cars, as you can see. Let's have a look at the race details then. First of all, we are racing 7 laps here at Miyabi. It is a grid start and you will need traction control just initially, even in these type of cars, as well as the comfort soft tyres. Everything else is as standard. Now, I picked the Demio here. It was the fastest in the time trial, according to leaderboards at least, but this race is very, very carnagey. There's constant contact, there's constant barrier hits, and people constantly understeering as well. So your DR will get destroyed here. Your SR will also get nuked. So race this at your peril. I did. Let's jump to that race now. I'll take you through a quick lap guide as well as some of that carnage. Well, you've just seen some of that carnage on that TV camera, but as you can see, we line up in P12. Believe it or not, this is where my SR was the best in these races. Not the worst, but you'll find out that in race B and C. Race A is actually the last race I do. So at the start, whack traction control on 1. It's front wheel drive. There is going to be wheel spin. You're about to see that there. Look at that. It's actually in use. And just before I change gear, I turn that off. And I actually gain a bit of an advantage there over Gonza and also over Javier Randa there. So we're going to get on the inside. Oh, Elmo's back. We got Sesame Street, I got told, not the Muppets. Elmo's there. Let's see what we can do versus Elmo and everybody else in this race. As you can see, mostly Demios. There is a couple of Swifts here, there and everywhere as we come through this right-hander then. And this one is all about slipstream and surviving, as I say in said at the start of this guide, basically. Quite a sketchy one. So in towards the left we go, and you're going to see everybody understeer. So I lift off here because I know exactly what's going to happen. Standard stuff. Everybody understeers off. We get a couple of positions down the inside as we head towards the right-hander, and everyone darting on the inside. Look at that, we're 4 wide into that corner then. Look at the radar. Look at it. It's just arrows everywhere, and obviously very sketchy. So a little tap there. Obviously they don't know I'm there, so I'm trying to turn, you know, to try and survive. 2 people going to their barrier. We get hit. We hit somebody else. I don't know. With survival. Look at the radar. The radar is full of arrows. We've got what, 6 arrows there on the radar. We're on the inside of a four-way side-by-side into turn 1 then, and on the inside we go. We're actually going to do the track guide on this one, I think, as well. As you see, we're being pushed on the inside, which is nice and helpful of them. So up into P4, and then potentially up into P3, but a couple of people get a little bit of lag boost there, so they go flying past me here. So I'm now on the outside, potentially the inside, as we then chuck it. Oh, we get a little tap there from the South African. That's going to cause a little bit of carnage then, as we then head towards the braking zone here. No track guide yet, and a little bit of a tag there from whoever was on the inside, the Ukrainian, who hit the South African, and I get one. I don't know why I get a penalty there. To be honest, the Ukrainian hit the South African, and I somehow get a penalty for it. So I get pushed by the South African into. Oh, was that Elmo? Did I just murder Elmo? I think I did. But yeah, I'm about to get a penalty. Well, I've got a penalty, haven't I? 3 seconds. So yeah, as you can see, it's pure carnage. It's just pure understeer, pure carnage, pure barrier hits. It gets even funnier as we continue on through here. Now I've got the Spaniard on my outside. And I tried 4th gear here. It's definitely 3rd gear this corner, not 4th. If you do it in 4th, there's every chance you'll understeer off, which we'll see shortly. But 4th survived that time. 3rd gear normal. As you see, 3 wide up ahead. Watch this. This is hilarious. They all go off. They all go off. And the Swift goes to the right into the barrier. And oh yeah, the braking zone for this turn. I might as well point that out. The start of the curve basically is where you want to brake. You've got to be on the inside and just try and survive. That's all you got to do. Try and survive this. Anyway, in we go. And we're staying 3rd gear here. I don't want the gear delay during the gear change. And because we've got slipstream as well, it's not too bad. You can see that. It just works the charm there as through the left we go. Well, we're about to take car penalty, which weirdly isn't that much of a penalty in this car, as you're about to see. Because look, we're going full pelt here. Because the penalty slows us down enough where it's like the normal speed of the car. I don't know how that works. That wasn't 3 seconds. But as we try to go around the outside of the Ukrainian now, definitely in the wrong place here in his V25 Demio. As you see the Polish driver go wide there now. That's a sign of things to come, let's put it that way. As we'll leave that corner. So 1 braking zone, which is very interesting. We go up to 4th gear here, right behind the Ukrainian. We'll chuck it towards the right-hand side. Try and get it done. A little bit of a tap there, nothing major. Tap from behind as well. Into the braking zone we go, and as I say, start the curb. I knew the Spaniard was going to launch it, so I just stick on the outside, and we'll look to try and survive that, but unfortunately not. We are on the inside, though, of the Spaniard as we go towards the left, so I really cut it a lot there. He backs out of it, which is very smart of Gonza, to be fair, because most of the time you're going into that barrier, but you can tell I really gave a lot of room, so not too bad. But this is where I don't pay attention, so I just keep it in 4th gear. And my phone goes because I'm on my lunch hour, so work's ringing obviously, and then I realise very quickly that I'm understeering off, and I try and lift off, and off I go. Now the critical thing with this then is that I was unable to catch the pack back up. In fact, I was losing time every lap to the pack. So the other critical thing you need is slipstream in this one, very annoyingly. So you have to be in the carnage to be in the race, otherwise you're not going to win the race, but you might save your DR. Choose what you like to do there, I guess, folks, because I'd rather keep my DR than have a DR reset being in that carnage. Your choice, though, as through the left we go. We'll just advance it towards the end now. Not one of my favourite races in the slightest. That is going to be a pure carnage one for the week, and yeah, we finished P12 there. So that's it for race A. We're going to head down to the bottom side of the planet now, from the top side, from Japan to Australia, as we go to Bathurst. Yes, as you can see, it's Group 4 once again, and yes, you can see me in an Audi TT. However, it's top of the leaderboard, so I decided to go for it. Now, a lot of people didn't go for it in the race, but I'll explain that shortly. Let's jump to the race details then. It's 3 laps here at Mount Panorama. It's a rolling start, and we are on racing car tyres as to be expected. Now, I'd say Group 4, no tyre wear. There's only one winner here, and it's the FF cars. But in this race, because my SR was low, this isn't actually a top split race, so it's actually a bit funny. Let's jump to that race here, and I'll talk you through what happened in that race, what to look out for, and also a track guide as always. Here we are then at the start. Hey, look, an Audi TT. Tidge, you said there wouldn't be. But there isn't. Look, there's an Impreza, there's an F-Type, there's a Subaru. Not sure why you'd pick a Subaru in this situation, but anyway, they have done primed in there as we get ready for the start of this race then. So we're starting P10. So the main thing to think about here at the start of the race, of course, is that last corner. Don't go too deep straight off the bat. Obviously, we're going to be going very slow into that last corner. Some people will get it wrong. If you're in an FF car, short shift. You're going to see me short shift straight off the bat. And I'm going to go to 3rd gear to avoid that wheel spin. Now, the German in front of me, not sure what happens. Maybe his throttle's broken or her throttle is broken. I don't know. But we get a place. Happy days as we head towards turn 1. We're not going to do a lap guide as we normally do on lap 1. Mainly because it's so hilarious. As you can see in front of me, the McLaren's already gone. The McLaren's already spinning as we go down this straight then. I'm going to go to the right side of Jorge there. And we'll pull up back onto the left. Now, you think you can't go side by side up the mountain. The players in front of me say you can, as you're about to witness as we head in towards the right-hander then. Just look up ahead. Look how many cars go side by side here as we go past the BMW as well. They are 4 wide, ladies and gentlemen, 4 wide. I never knew that was possible here, but apparently it is. But you can see what they paid in terms of finding out that information, in terms of the penalties that ensued. Anyway, there's that Subaru we were talking about. Tries to go up the inside of a gap which doesn't exist there of the Viper. So we're going to go around the outside here as they try and avoid me. Happy days up into P6. It's now Super GT. We have Steve as we go down this sort of up and down little section here on the mountain. You see the Viper gets it all wrong. So I go down the inside. They decide I'm not there. I don't exist. So they bounces me off. They bounce off me, and I get a 2-second penalty. Thank you, Gran Turismo, for that lovely penalty. The F-Type decides he doesn't want to race anymore, wants to go rally crossing. The Scirocco wants to hit the barrier as we survive that one. And we're up into P3 from P10 in 1 lap. Happy days, everybody getting penalties here. Which is even funnier on the straight, because I'm like, I'm going to lose all these positions again. Alas, that is not the case, because if you look behind me, everybody's going to get a penalty here as we head towards that penalty line. If you do get a penalty here, by the way, it is quite sickening because of where it is on this straight. You know, everyone's doing well over 150 miles an hour at this point. But everybody's got a penalty for me in this race, so happy days. We continue on racing as we head towards one of my favourite brake markers of all time, Signevent, not Sign Event, as everyone pointed out for me. Yeah, I used to say Signevent, but there we go, through the left. Now, we've got 8 seconds to catch the leader. Let's see if we can do that in 1 lap. Not that I'm hinting towards anything here. So we're going to head towards the last corner, and then we are going to start our track guide as we go on the hunt, as we've already gained a second here. Heading towards that last turn. We're getting more than a second now. That's 1.5 seconds in a corner. Happy days. Heading towards turn 1 then. You're going to look for that lovely photographer. Where is he? There he is on the right hand side. That's my marker. It's always my marker at this circuit. It's a very good marker. It's just before that lamppost, but you can use the lamppost instead if you really want. It's a bit more obvious, but I like the photographer. It's a bit easier to see when you are racing. As we go through there, I'm in 3rd gear. Try and be careful of the exit, about running too wide. I was a little bit too wide there. So I'm losing a little bit of time there to the leader. So we're going to head down this straight, nice and easy, just breathe, relax, just be careful of people getting slipstream and potentially going to dive down your inside. It's nice to stay in the middle there if you want to try and defend your position. As we head towards the right-hander then, on the left-hand side there's this tarmac area here, so sometimes you want to use the start of it, sometimes you want to use the end of it. I've actually not shown the end of it there in the highlighted portion, but basically I'm going to use the end of it in the Audi TT. It's got very good brakes, and you really want to get as close to that curb as possible. The further out you are, the more you will understeer off, so just be careful there. As you head up here, you sort of just want to lift off a little bit and start braking as you come into here. Don't run too wide, and then really get turned in. Get on the inside where that camber is, and then accelerate out the corner. Happy days. We continue on up the mountain now. And this is all about just making sure you don't hit the barrier basically. So you'll see me lift off occasionally, just a tad, lift off here, there, and everywhere. If you go down here, I lift off just to avoid the understeer. There you go. And as we head towards the crest of this hill, you want to lift off just before this, but not fully. Lift off about 50%. So what that will do, it'll settle the weight of the car a little bit rather than be all the way on the back wheels. It won't be doing a wheelie basically. So it should mean you get round here without the car understeering off to Narnia. 50% throttle, just keep that in mind as we now head down the hill. Now I just stopped it here. No, I've not forgotten to highlight something. The Audi R8 sign here. You can see I've started to point towards where that barrier is just turning away from the car. Basically I'm trying to straight line the braking as much as possible, so I'm just trail braking, and when I'm straight I'm then slamming on 100% and then chuck it left here at the dipper. Happy days, through I go. Now Braveheart, luckily for me, gets ghosted. So as we come through here, you'll notice I'm just lifting off, and then as I've straightened the car up here, that is when I'm going to go on the brakes. So just be careful of that. I always like to slow down a little bit before this corner, get it as far out as possible, then slam on the brakes. As you see there, I'm on 100%. I'm trying to keep it as tight as possible so I can accelerate through that corner and then continue on down the straight. That corner is so important to get right. It's better to go slow on the entry and get the exit right than try and nuke it all the way in and absolutely destroy your lap. As you see, we've caught that 8 seconds up, which we were talking about earlier on. So we're going to have a go at the Italian down the inside. They do push me all over a little bit here. So I'm just like, whee, I want a bit of tarmac here. They decide to lift off. And then we're going to use our famous of all brake markers at this circuit on Gran Turismo, the V in sign event, or signivant if you want to go back to my old way of saying that one. So I use the V there. And then we're going to chuck it in to the left, stay in 3rd gear, accelerate through the corner, and we continue on towards the last brake marker of them all. But before that, let's have a look at the Italian binning it off there. Anyway, on the right side, there's that big tree. I use this in multiple games. It's not just Gran Turismo. That tree is the marker of all markers at Bathurst. Use it. It's very helpful. I'm assuming it's there in real life because all games simulate it. But we advance to the last lap now. Round we go. I don't think in reality you'll be able to make as many places as I did there. There's no overtaking on the mountain, as you saw. You get a penalty, so you can only make it up on the straight, and so that's only going to be a few positions here, there and everywhere. But that's it for Bathurst. Not a fun race, if I'm honest. One I would avoid again because of the penalties. I think the penalties are going to be absolutely nuts on this circuit. Let's head to race C then, where we head to America. And you can see we are in the Group 3 cars. So once again, we've got Group 3. I do like Group 3 racing. I'm not a particular fan of this race, so let me tell you why. So here are the race details then. We are racing 13 laps here at Laguna Seca. We have a rolling start, so just be careful that last corner if you're near the back. And we are on racing hard tyres only. There's the problem. Fuel usage is ×2 and tyre wear is ×10. So quite high tyre wear, to be honest. And you do have to worry about that tyre wear. Now, I chose the Subaru in this situation. 2 cars primarily on the leaderboard was the Renault and the Subaru. I didn't own the Renault, so the Subaru it was. So let's jump to that race then. I'll talk you through some tips, tricks. A lap guide as always. I do have a detailed one of that, by the way. Check out the end of the video and the description for that. And let's have a look at some more Narnia visits. In fact, there's a lot of Narnia visits in this one. Here we are then at the start of the grid. Now Group 3, I normally say pick what you like, but because of the tyre wear, you've got to be a bit more careful. A lot of people were picking the Beetle, which is probably a good choice, to be honest. You know, quite stable, the tyres should last. The Porsche was also a good choice apparently. Subaru, a little bit more sketchy on the tyres. I wouldn't pick the Alpha, which is in front of me. My word, what a choice that is. I actually had a DRE driver behind me here. I've never seen a DRE before, in quite a while in a daily race. So this was going to be an interesting one, and I'll talk about why my SR is low in a second. But heading in towards this corner, if you listen. Yes, that's a DRE driver going off to Narnia already at the last corner. They've even started the race and they're already gone. Anyway, we're going for the move straight off the bat here on the Alfa Romeo. Watch the Porsche. That's the earliest I've seen anybody ever brake on that corner ever in the history of Laguna Seca. He wasn't anywhere near. It's like 100 meters early on the brake in there. So a little bit too early. It's so surprised he got hit from the rear there. As we head in towards the right-hander here, the Porsche in front just runs a little bit deep there, a little bit of understeer. So I'm just now trying to hold off here. I had to brake here just to avoid hitting the British driver there. As we then look towards that. Ooh, the Finnish driver's gone off a little bit there. The Porsche gets it all wrong, trying to overtake. Ooh, he keeps it just there. We go a little bit deep to make sure this overtake is done and dusted. It is indeed. Up to P15 then from P19. Not doing too bad so far. Head towards its left, the sketchiest left in existence. As you see in front, Time Lord disappears off. Let's do the time warp again. No, we won't sing that. Okay, heading towards the left-hander of the corkscrew then. Left hand, right-hander. And through we go. So we've already seen a couple of Narnia visits. Only lap 1. Trust me, there are plenty more to come as we come through left-hander. BMW M3. You don't see them very often actually. So shout out to Wario here with that one. Obviously a Mario fan. Oh, we nearly pleb it there as well. We hit some sausages. Avoid those sausages, that is for sure. Anyway, in towards the left we go. Clip the apex. Oh look, the Eatal's gone. And we just avoid them just as we leave that corner. So we're going to actually head into the track guide. But before we do that, look at what the BMW does here. Avoid doing this. Do not cut this corner too much because you get a penalty. So heading towards turn 1. On the right side, the first white line. So where this tarmac starts on the right side, after the white line, the first white line is the actual braking zone. I brake a little bit earlier. You can see I'm on 100%. And you see Wario gets a penalty there. But you can see I'm just trail braking all the way to the corner there just to try and avoid Wario. Fortunately, we do. He turns in on me, but I can do there. So we get that position. Heading towards turn 2 then. On the left hand side where the gravel is there with the sand, I always use that as my marker. That's my main marker here. As I say, I have talked about multiple markers on this corner, so if you're not happy with that one, check out my detailed track guide. That's in the description and it'll be at the end of the video as well. And towards this right hander then, you'd sort of lift off. You may want to dab the brakes a little bit, but you're sort of following how that curb comes onto the circuit here. You see how the white touches the track. You're sort of following that line. Don't leave it too late though, because you will spin off. Through there we go then, and we're going to head towards the left-hander. Now on the right side you've got some billboards. You can just see them now. Basically you're going to use the first billboard down the right side. That's going to be your brake marker. This corner also quite a good overtaking spot. You can go on the inside or outside, and as long as you're racing somebody clean, you should survive as we then hit the left here now. So through we go. Now the next one is one of the trickiest corners to get right. This is where a lot of people make mistakes, and the problem is there's no real marker here. So you can use the 2. You can also use that white coloured marker on the barrier as well. I use that quite often, but in this situation I've started using 2 just because it's a quick jump in, and through we go. Avoid the sausage, and once again we see somebody go off to Narnia because of that corner. That's 2 in 2 folks. Be careful of that corner and that sausage. Heading towards the corkscrew then, before you get to the crest of the hill, you have that white marker on the right hand side. You want to be braking before you hit the crest of the hill, otherwise the car's going to get very light and not be able to brake. So brake beforehand, you should survive. And you may actually want to overlay a little bit. Oh, see somebody else in Narnia land there. That was Pere there, the Italian in the Beetle. Through here, you just bounce in the car. You might dab the brake a little bit, nothing major. And then as you head towards this right-hander, on the left-hand side, you've got the big board, basically, of positions, or the 2. I've highlighted both there, just in one big square, because you can use either of them. The 2's the easier one, but you know, the scoreboard's there if the 2 gets wiped out. Heading towards the last corner then, on the right side I'm going to use the 3 on here. There is also a little bit of a colour change in the barrier if you really want to use that on the left hand side, but it's not very often the 3 will get wiped out, so that's the one I've picked in this situation. As we see another Beetle go off there. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, the Ferrari as well. So Ferrari's a brave choice here actually. So you see this Beetle come across, so I start turning back at him because I thought I was going in the barrier there for a second. Maybe you didn't see me, but we continue on, and that was my fastest lap actually as well. In towards the braking zone we go. The Ferrari gets a little bit of a tap from behind, and we go full drifto to get that position. Happy day, look at that. What a move that is. Full drift, and we get it as well. So in towards the right, we see the Beetle in the distance. Oh, the Ferrari's gone on the inside there. Tried to avoid me though, to be fair to them. And we continue on. So the Beetle in the distance with a penalty. So you've seen a lot of them today. You've seen a lot of Narnia visits today. It's quite a carnagey day as we then get P7 then. So, you know, I do see that we could catch P1 at this moment in time. But let's advance a bit further on as we catch up to the Spaniard, who is in the Steve position. P Steve, we'll call it from now on. So we're going to look down the inside at the last corner. Not going to quite work out here. But the Beetle goes a bit deep there, trying to defend. So happy days. We'll take that position. So we are now into P Steve as we head towards the start-finish line here. Now, tyre wear is going to be more significant for me in this situation because I'm being aggressive trying to overtake people. Head towards turn 1 though. If you notice behind, he releases the brakes, actually fires it at me there for I don't know why, and then sort of drifts and loses control a little bit. So I was like, not really nice there, mate. And then doesn't lift off. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be a bit aggressive here myself. I'll go down the inside. I'll give you just enough room. Slight bit of tap, but he gets sent to Narnia there as well. Bye-bye! Maybe next time just you know, give the position back if you wipe somebody out. Anyway, we catch up to another Subaru now. A fellow boxer racer here. So heading towards the left, they're going to get it slightly wrong here. Not using my track guide. Well, they can use it now, obviously. It's going to come through here. Do not do what this Subaru driver does, which is try and hang it on the outside of this very dangerous corner. It does not work out. I gave them room, but they decide to try and launch it around the outside. Doesn't work out well, and they give up and leave the race. In fact, the Spaniard previous, who didn't give up the position, also left the race, if you really want to know. So we're up to P3. A couple of people pit. Do not pit in this race. So let's talk about strategy for a second. If you look, P1 is 14.2 seconds ahead of me here, okay? We're going to see how close we are to what was effectively P1 when they leave the pits. And this is the reason why you don't pit here. You really just have to look after the tyres. Take this as a practice race as we catch up to a back marker here, the Alpha, which of course would be struggling in anybody's hands. But actually it does something nice, actually. Going to move over and let me go, which is kind of nice. Didn't have to. Of course, ghosted. So you see the P1 driver, or was P1, has just come out there. So he has lost 14 seconds in the pits. Now, if you're the only one who pits in this race, you've got to then overtake 14 seconds worth of drivers that have gone in that gap, as well as then get back into the lead. Not really possible in the grand scheme of it. So, yeah, I would avoid pitting and look after your tyres. Think about your brake balance. Think about braking. Maybe brake at 50% rather than 100%. Really ease into it. Let people be aggressive. You know, let them use their tyres up and be really advantageous later on. You know, using all your tyres up early on is not very beneficial in this race, because if you have to pit, you're going backwards. You ain't going forwards. Now, luckily for the driver who was in P1 behind me, Stefan, obviously I'm going to race smart here. I know he's got much better tyres than I do. You can see my tyres are a mess down in that bottom left hand side. So we'll just catch up to P10 in the Audi, who decides to go to Narnia as well. So how many Narnia visits is that? I should have a counter, really, shouldn't I? I'll do that next time. Through the left we go. So I'm going to be sensible, you know. If he goes for the move, I'm not going to fight it too much. There's a potential that they might bin it off later on. I don't know. Now, you're probably wondering why my DR is so, my SR is so bad, and why I'm in this race. But I'm actually I can't even speak now. I'm overlapping people. But basically, on the last daily races, my SR had gone down to such an extent. Race B, that one penalty dropped it even more, so I was SRA at this point, but fortunately this race boosted it back up to top split for when we got into race A earlier on. So you're going to see the attendant go on the inside here, little bit of leaning, but nothing major, leaves me space on the exit, so I would call that a good move by Stefan there, to be honest. So well played, Stefan. Stefan, no one, Nunes? Stefan Nunes, actually, maybe? I don't know, I'm butchering names. But yeah, good move, I would say, in that one. And, you know, it pulls the gap, but doesn't get to the lead. We do catch up to Pablito ourselves, to be honest. Our good mate Pablito, you know, who we sent to Narnia in that Suzuka race a few weeks ago. But yes, we're not going to get any further in this race. But that shows you, do not pit. Look after your tyres, survive the tyre wear, let other people pit if they have to. And make sure your tyres are better towards the end. And as you see, the Beetle is the one that wins the race. So that's going to be it for this week's daily/weekly race guide. Bit of an interesting one, bit of a destruction derby one this week. So if you care about your DR, as I always say, you know, I'd give this one a miss, to be honest. You see +1 lap. How about that, folks? You don't see that very often. There's a link to a stream there. I'm assuming it's going to be Key, Basic Ollie, or Super GT. They normally stream on a Monday, so check out that. My detailed guide of Laguna Seca there is there. Please subscribe if you want to see more of these and be alerted to them. Like it if you liked it, dislike if you dislike it, or leave a comment if you have an opinion or any changes you'd like to see. But that's it for me for now, folks. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in another video or live stream very soon.